Right. Okay. There we go. Test, 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 test. Yeah. Yeah, son of a bitch, could you please... Oh. Could maybe help if I were to do the handy dandy transition. There we go. There we go. Yes. Sorry about the delays to the no people watching. And now, well, let me check. Oh, yes. My stream was perfectly healthy just a few minutes ago, and of course, right when I start... Right when I want to start the stream, that is when my stream health becomes poor. It's perfect. Alright. Trigger warning, loud sound. Sorry. Alright. So we're gonna talk about Kalvin Garrah here, and I hope my friend eventually gets back to me. Will take a little bit longer to do my makeup. Yes, new scenery. Old one didn't work out. I'm still working on it. I am constantly going back and forth between whether I want this thing or not. Funny enough, not because it makes me look too feminine, because I'm pretty sure that men wore this too, but it was mostly worn by women. in the modern day, it's considered a more feminine thing, but at one hand, no more itchy back of the neck that I normally get. But the problem is that now the itch is all here, where the strings are and whatnot. So I guess you just kind of gotta live with it. Yeah, and oh boy, sounds like my mother said package. I am going to check to see if it is my package. I will be back, my children. Ooh. My mom is mad and I think it's politics. Yeah, this is definitely my walking stick. Fabulous. Actually, it no longer... I'm squeezing it and it doesn't feel like a walking stick. I don't know, whatever. Yeah. Ooh. My microphone almost fell over. My apologies for that. Fuck it. So Kalvin Garrah. I bring this up because, well, first of all, I think it was just fate. Where the fuck did I put my goddamn... There's my cell phone. So it was fate itself, I think, because if you don't know if that'll show up, which one? There it is. I got a notification, 45 minutes ago, back when I thought that I was going to be starting the stream soon, when I was not. I got a notification that another person liked one of my comments from the only person that Kalvin Garrah talked about that I have ever interacted with. And I kind of want to wait for my friend to possibly get back to me, even if they end up saying no, because it's a story that I think they would want to hear. Because I have, a lot of friends that are very anti-Kalvin Garrah and people that I just know would not get along with him. But I knew that what the person said was just fucked up enough that it did not matter what they believed in or what they had gone through. What they said was very fucked up. And I'm sorry to be giving you the info like that. God damn it, where did I... My entire area is a bit of a mess. I turned it upside down today to look for my wallet because it's my wallet. It's in the house. I know it's in the house. But recently everything's been moved around. And now it seems I have moved my main foundation because I have this foundation which I use under the cheeks, and then have another foundation which it's probably in the bathroom, and if not, I have another foundation in the bathroom that I'll use as a backup. You know what? No, I remember that I can do it by mixing together my two different colors. This one, which is definitely a couple shades too dark. It's not blackface dark. It is not blackface dark. I'm gonna go close the door because I just said the words. Those aren't blackface. That's not blackface dark. And I don't need my parents hearing me say shit like that and ask too many questions. Okay. Yeah. But it's definitely, fake tan darker. You know what? Went in here already and I literally closed the door for 10 minutes. And it's already overheating. Before I get back in front of the camera, I just gotta make sure that the way that my hair is up, it doesn't look ridiculous. Oh, it looks absolutely ridiculous. But you know what? I don't even care anymore. I do not care anymore. I came on here to talk about and, bitch about people. And I'm gonna do exactly that. So, how I found Kalvin Garrah in the first place. It's actually kind of interesting. I did not find him through the Onision drama, which, by all means, I kind of should have. You know, I'm just such an anti-Onision fan and all that. But I actually found him back when I was first kind of questioning who and what I thought I was, because he made a video about how to get a deeper voice without having to go on T, or at least for the pre T as they're called, not pre T like preteen, but pre T as in pre testosterone trans males. It was to help them mostly, but I found it very helpful because at the time I didn't know what the fuck was up with me. I just knew that I wanted to have a deeper voice, and I was willing to get it through testosterone, but I still want to talk to a gender psychologist because I ultimately don't really know. Not gonna lie, I don't really know. I'm gonna have a quick rundown in case, you know, anybody starts to have issues with me, to say that when it comes to masculinity and femininity, when it comes to, I need to stop saying that, god damn it. I have not had social interaction in a while, and my speaking has been very, very off lately. That is why I'm doing this, and oh my god, it is so fucking hot in here. I originally closed the window because I didn't want you guys to have to hear all of the echoey shit, and I also didn't want to possibly disturb the neighbors with my screaming. But I guess it's just not worth it. So, no matter what gender you're trying to portray, gender and gender expression is a balancing act. It ultimately is. And everybody's gonna perceive you depending upon how, not only just how you express yourself, but the ways that, I know it's just, I know that to an extent, or what's the term? Expression is not really a choice. But I've also experienced questioning myself when I would see more feminine but straight and cisgendered men who, you know, do more feminine stuff and all that. And there is a way to do it. I'm gonna give you a quick tip as to how, with my little outfit here. So, again, we're gonna kind of tally up. So I got this thing, which is, again, technically gender neutral, but I would consider it more feminine. The corset is definitely more feminine, however, it is not the most feminine thing that you can do. There are plenty of men who wear corsets like this. There are men who wear corsets like, and I don't get this, but there are completely cisgendered men who wear the corsets that give them the pure hourglass shape. I don't get why, but you know, that's just them doing their thing. I am binding, and I'm wearing a shirt that's not only a men's shirt, but I like this shirt because when I have it over my binder, you can't really tell where the skin starts and the binder begins. Especially in photos and on shitty cameras like this. And these pants are completely male pants. And of course I got the fake dick there, but you know, hopefully I do not get in trouble for doing this on YouTube. Sorry, just... That is the one bad thing about wearing a... Well, okay, not the one bad thing, but it is one of my least favorite things about wearing a corset, because even with all the pains, at least I can say that I feel better. You know, well, not... You guys probably don't understand, but I like to wear corsets. Makes me feel a little bit more compact, if that makes any sense. And the only problem that I really have is that sitting down and standing up, your pants and your corset will constantly be battling each other. And that's the reason why you probably should be wearing corsets with dresses. But I say fuck that because I don't like skirts. And that is another thing that it's kind of difficult to talk about, which is I literally just found my foundation right by my candle. God damn it, I cannot read the books from the library. I was trying to say forest from the trees. God damn it, I even said it backwards. I've I will learn how to socialize eventually. That day is not today. Hang on, just gonna quickly check my... Yes, excellent connection. Fucking finally. Okay, going on to Kalvin Garrah. I discovered him because I needed a voice coach, and I also through him found there's this trans woman who also does she does like speech therapy, gender speech therapy, and he gave her the thumbs up. So I do really trust Kalvin Garrah. I would say, going through this, if there's one thing that I want to have understood, is that I understand that Kalvin has really, whether you want to use the term problematic or whether you think that that term is overused, his fans are kind of dickish. They definitely will fight a little bit too hard for him. Here, I'll just bring it in closer because I already showed the outfit, and now I just want you guys to see my face as I do my makeup. And I really hate this angle. Wow, I hate that fucking angle. Okay, and wow, I hate that angle even more. And that's going to be a little bit too... Okay, I will just... go with that. So, with Kalvin Garrah, there's the issue that... Well, first of all, I got a lot of comments on that one that I showed you that I said, oh, this is fate bringing me to make this fucking Kalvin Garrah video. That was the only person that I ever responded to, or not responded to, but made a comment on that Kalvin Garrah commented on. And like, granted, I do not condone what a lot of, I don't even think it's Kalvin Garrah fans necessarily. I think it's just random people coming in from the community, and they're comparing this person to Trisha Paytas, which, if you want to do that on Kalvin Garrah's channel, that's totally fine, and I get that, and as said, I hate when people say that, oh, you can't say stuff behind people's backs. Like, what if they know that I don't like them and they don't like me? Why does this have to be talked about? God damn me losing all of my shit. I don't want to be the guy that says, just turn it off. But when I see the same people commenting on Kalvin Garrah's videos that don't like him, I just have to wonder where their life has gone, that's what they do. I also think that it could be because these people are just like Kalvin Garrah's fans, the ones that I was talking about that I didn't really like, who are essentially, 12-year-olds. And that's not to say, that's not even most of Kalvin Garrah's fan base. In fact, I would say that Kalvin Garrah is one of those YouTubers that I would actually say is an 18-plus YouTuber, not necessarily because he swears a lot, but because he has a mean sense of humor that I think a lot of a younger fan base will use improperly. They don't know when to, like... Well, first of all, I think that for Kalvin Garrah, I would like for him to make a video about dysphoria in general, because I think that there is a lot of miscommunication, or there's just a bunch of uneducated people who don't know how to talk about dysphoria, which, that is not me defending these people. Willful ignorance does not allow you to say that, oh, I didn't know that, I did have dysphoria, because I believe you need dysphoria to be trans, but I also believe that a lot of people are uneducated on what dysphoria is. There are many different kinds of dysphoria. There's different definitions that people will use, which is why some people will also believe that you don't need dysphoria to be trans, while also basically agreeing with the idea of you need a reason to transition in order to transition. They just go by a different definition than everybody else. And that's perfectly fine. When you get down to the root of it, it ultimately doesn't matter, as long as the person is upfront about, when they say that, oh, you don't need dysphoria to be trans, you might want to explain yourself a little bit further, because it's not necessarily that you're wrong or even that you're right. It's just that you are misleading people Uh, by in some cases, it's almost kind of inflammatory. I feel. Uh, so well, God, I keep on going back and forth. I have just so much stuff to say about Kalvin Garrah. Uh, and of course, I could uh, there's some stuff that, and it's not even his necessarily his old stuff. Granted, I think, and this is totally just coincidence. I think that my opinion falls, and I think maybe Kalvin also has this opinion, but my opinion falls somewhere on specifically non-binary people. It falls in between, and whether they're considered trans. It falls in between Kalvin's and Blair White's, where I believe that certain non-binary people can be considered trans and some should not and also cannot. And what is it with our generation and not, as much as we talk about consent is key, a lot of people just don't seem to understand no, and the idea that, first of all, if you're attaching your entire personality to an identity like that, and you say that, oh, what you're doing is a razor, I'm sorry that you see it that way. And I would definitely, I want to chat with people about shit like that because, yeah, I'm sorry. I am all over the place. I need someone to fucking moderate me, but nobody wants to talk to me because I'm secretly just an asshole. And I'm sorry, I'm very scatterbrained today. I had everything, set up. I guess I should talk about the TikTok situation and the reason why I responded to them. It was actually because I actually made a comment with just a very legitimate question, which was I asked them, are you making fun of people's dysphoria or something along those lines? I asked if they were making fun of trans people's dysphoria, which a lot of people also argued. They said that you're definitely talking to this other person. They said you're mocking people with dysphoria, which is something that you clearly don't understand. And at that point, it becomes very much of both sides are really, really wrong. As much as people say that, oh, Kalvin is, pushing this narrative, whatever. He's trying to what's the term? He's making it worse. He's like perpetuating it, whatever. The other person they were perpetuating it too by saying that they were wanting to box Kalvin Garrah, and everybody's like, well, okay, it was a joke. And it's, when you do a joke through text, people can't tell when you're being sarcastic. And with everybody who's like, you need to know that just looking at something like that it doesn't read a whole lot if you don't know who the person is. I have been told stuff like that where I would say something along those lines that's very, non-specific, where I'm in a group and I'm like, yo, I'm not going to be able to talk for a little while because, just having separation issues and whatnot. And sometimes they're in groups where a good chunk of the people know me, but enough people don't know me to where they will say, are you okay, bro? And god damn it, I need to talk to my doctor about getting some fucking Adderall. This would make this so much easier on me. And then the funny thing is that I was wondering when my video response was going to be made, because they made video responses to everybody, which I don't know if I've already condoned this or condemned it. Cannot get those two mixed up. I don't know if I've already condemned these people, but there were a lot of people. No, I did, because I said you can call the person Trisha Paytas on Kalvin's account, making comments to Kalvin about it, as much as I believe that this person can just chat shit on Kalvin Garrah as well, and whether they go back and forth between it, whether they interact, is something else. Once you go onto somebody's page, it's not completely no man's land, but you definitely you have to abide by slightly different rules, and you may or may not know them until the very end. But I got a response after my second comment, which that was really, really funny. Alright, my friend's got a little bit too much going on tonight, which is good because I'm already telling the story. Alright, just sending them the message that they can come by whenever they want, make comments, whatever. They got a lot of shit to do because they got semi-big on Spoon, and yes, that's fantastic. Oh hey, I'm watching myself. No, stop it, phone. Stop being a. God damn it. Okay. I hate that my hair is looking like this, and it hurts me more and more as I look at it, but it's just getting all up in my face, and I cannot deal with that right now. I just can't. Ugh. So this person responded to me after well, hang on. Sorry, I got distracted. I was gonna read out my my comment. Because I also kind of want to elaborate on it, I wanted to do more, but God knows the way that TikTok works, it's not the best. Well, first of all, one of their fans responded saying, no, they're mocking people who, you know, who have problems with him expressing himself. Which, you can also express yourself by having a shirt that says faggot on it. That doesn't mean that you should necessarily wear it. You know, I have a lot of things that I could wear to express myself. This is my way of expressing myself, and I believe that I am, well, not currently, because I still have to get my fucking this in order, but I am relatively masculine enough. I am binding, and I have found a way, in my opinion. You know, you can also, well, don't debate me on it, just say that, you know, that doesn't look like a chest, which it doesn't matter because I'm going to be getting one of those silicone chest things for Christmas. I already told my parents that is all that I want. That's all that I care about, because I have enough cleaning to do as is. God damn it, just tiny mirror. And then with that, I responded with, and if you can also you can skip my explanation of the comment if you get what I'm saying. I'm not saying I express myself, well, not express myself. I am bad with words today. I do not communicate very well, especially after being quarantined for, you know, nearly a year now. But I said, and I quote, if expressing yourself hurts the people you claim to identify with, then maybe you should reevaluate your expression. Granted, I should have put a comma in there after identify with, because, yeah, it's very much the whole let's eat grandpa versus let's eat grandpa, you know, but, then they respond with, you are so fucking dumb, you know, and it's like, thanks, that told me absolutely fucking nothing. But then I was going to respond a little bit more, you know, respond a little bit to their fans and whatnot, but then I went and I did a little scroll, went past all of the Trisha Payta comments, and shit, and came across a cute little screenshot, which when I'm editing this, I will prop up about here. Pretty much, you're gonna have to take my word for it in the live, but you can also find it yourself. I have also uploaded a TikTok that shows off what I am talking about when I say that this person has told people that they enjoy causing dysphoria amongst trans teenagers. Does that sound as sickening to you as it sounds to me? And not the good kind of sickening, the bad kind of, like, actual just, ugh. Disgusting. It's not cute. It's not funny. And the fact that they're gonna play the victim after saying that, you know, justifying them causing someone to essentially, I'm trying to think, because dysphoria, like, you are taking joy out of making people feel disconnected from their own body. That's, I don't get that. Granted, I feel dysphoria. I do not consider myself a trans man. Shit's kind of complicated in that regard. I might talk about it eventually. Oh, god damn it. Where's my big brush? Do I not have my big brush? Well, I have one of my big brushes. Okay, at least I have that. Just gonna casually get the glitter off of that, like so. And the best thing is that they responded to probably one of the nicest people in the comment section saying, you know, I kind of get what you're saying, but I think it may have come off wrong. And then they just went off saying, you know, I enjoy making these... They literally describe them as kids. They say, I like making these kids feel dysphoric. And the person's like, well, okay, but why? And their exact response was, LOL, I don't know. Well, not even I don't know. It was the IDK. And I cannot fathom saying something as disrespectful and just actually so against the trans community, and then when you are asked by, I imagine this person was a member of the trans community, when you are asked by one of those people, why do you do something that literally hurts members of our community, and your response is, I don't, like, LOL, I don't know. Because people don't realize this, you know, secondhand dysphoria is as legitimate as social dysphoria, which, for those of you who don't know, social dysphoria is probably the only type of dysphoria that a lot of these trans people have, which is being called the wrong pronoun. And I mean, that's also something that legitimate trans and, you know, just people who have, there's a lot of reasons why someone can have dysphoria. The main one being them being transgender. You know, it's not technically the only one, but I'm going to stick with simplicities here and talk about the trans community when it comes to that. And the idea that, well, first, I keep on saying first of all, when I fucking shouldn't, because I have weird verbal tics. Another thing that kind of bothered me was that their fans, this person's fans, would, you know, respond to people who were saying, you know, this gave me secondhand dysphoria with, well, first, some people would comment that, you know, oh, dysphoria, you know, people get dysphoria in different ways, which I personally agree with. I think there are a lot of different ways for people to experience dysphoria that, you know, isn't talked about enough, you know, that maybe is kind of, you know, just unknown. There's, you know, nothing wrong with that, you know, make it more known, talk about it more. But it's all of these people that Kalvin Garrah go after. I do not completely think that they aren't trans. I actually believe that some of them have dysphoria. They just don't know what dysphoria is. They do not know all the different forms of dysphoria, and thus when they're asked about it, you know, they just try to say that, oh, not all trans people have dysphoria, which not all trans people experience dysphoria in the same way, and not all of them express it in the same way. They still have it. They still experience dysphoria, you know? And the audacity of these fucking people to defend their king, who is happily causing people dysphoria, it just absolutely boggles my mind. And that was actually what made me stop responding when I found that comment, because I was actually, well, okay, I was not having a productive discussion with their fans, but I was just making my point known, And, the more you comment, the more the algorithm gets stimulated, the more people are probably going to end up finding you through that, liking you. Maybe they, see your profile picture and they're like, holy shit, a profile picture that is actually of fucking them. And, you know, it's, I can get an idea of what this person's about. The algorithm, yada, yada, yada. Uh, I'm just, at that point when I read that they like to trigger people's dysphoria, I was just out. I was not about to try to have this battle, and I will be making another TikTok video about it, specifically responding to when they, made the video and just called me stupid, which I will mention again that, as I did here, that I should have put a comma within that sentence. But also, I hate texting and I just used voice chat, and honestly, I didn't give enough of a fuck at that point in my existence. Especially talking to someone like that. It can be extremely exhausting. Just extremely exhausting. And I don't know whether it would be, too late to make comments on it, or, if it's just kind of forgotten about by now. And as an add-on to that, this is not about the person in particular. It is just about one of their cute little fans. A few things about their cute little fans. One, they are kind of like everybody else on TikTok in that if someone disagrees with them or says what you're doing is wrong and fucked up, they have the tendency to say the lines, "Aw, are you gonna cry about it?" Or something along those lines, go and cry about it. Which, reading that, I do feel kind of bad, because these people who are commenting this 100% got called a snowflake in high school, and I was probably the type of person that bullied you, and I do apologize, because I thought it was going to make you better, and turns out it made you worse. I know, I've learned from my mistakes, and now I'm going to have actual conversations with people, alright? I have learned now, but God, when you say that, are you gonna go cry now? It sounds so much like you're projecting, because you can just say that with anyone who disagrees with you. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's also, I think a lot of people are realizing this. When somebody comments that, the conversation is just over. There is no conversation to be had after something like that. It's like, okay, you're going to put your opinion in there, and it's worse than, well, not even worse than, that suggests that the thing I'm about to talk about is bad, but it is worse than people who say, oh, I'm commenting to, save for later, because at least when you comment something like that, you're stimulating the algorithm, and then, you can possibly come back to it later. It's actually useful, but commenting something like that, it is the junk food and empty calories of TikTok, where it does, a comment like that should not be stimulating the algorithm. I'll just say on that whole thing. And the other thing with that is, the reason why I wanted to make this video of, feminine, trans mask whatever fuck guy talks about Kalvin Garrah, is because I have gotten one or two comments from the person's fans saying, oh, I'm, masculine presenting and I think they're fine. Well, guess what? I'm feminine presenting while being AFAB and also identifying as male. And I believe in Kalvin Garrah a lot more than I believe in this person. Because, honestly, even if you're more on the feminine side, you just gotta learn how to play your cards right. It's a difficult thing because it involves legitimately studying, transitioning and figuring out, good ways to start and where to start. All that shebang. It's actually very, very good to do research. The problem with the new age, trans community is that I am not completely convinced that any of them know what they're getting into. I think they have a very shallow and very misleading perception of what the trans community is and what's eventually going to happen to them. And that is where we get the detransitioners, who, some of them, I'm not going to say, because of course we also just don't have these type of things on record, but I'm pretty sure once you detransition, you are automatically 50% more likely to become, some kind of TERF or like anti-trans person, and that's especially a fucking problem for the trans community if they have, ex-members coming in and saying, oh, no one there is actually trans, when it was just them that weren't trans, and because they can't empathize with other people and realize, oh, this wasn't for me, but this could be for somebody else. That's why they end up joining those type of things. So on top of all that, can we talk about how Planned Parenthood is like, oh yeah, you can come in and get your fucking, your whatever, fucking chemicals, HRT, that's the term. I was trying to think of what HRT actually stands for, which is hormone replacement therapy, but I did not think fast enough for my mouth to be moving. And they say that, oh, you don't need, to get you don't need a gender therapist to access this. And I'm just thinking to myself, Planned Parenthood, if you knew anything about the science of trans people, why, by God, are you not getting gender therapists for these people that you are supplying with hormones? And if there's a legitimate answer, like they just can't afford it, I'm all for it. I'm down to listen to that. Or, it's not within their legal right, which, that can also be a thing. Or, there can be a lot of different stuff as to why they can't do that. But I want to have an answer, because otherwise, there's my sponge. Otherwise, it feels like they care more about pleasing children, teenagers who haven't done all their research, than they are willing to actually have this person confront what they actually feel. I also speak from, I don't want to say anything necessarily personal with this, but I will say that I have been clearly not with the transgender stuff per se, but I have been misdiagnosed before. And a misdiagnosis can ruin your life. So why are we allowing people to self-diagnose themselves with gender dysphoria or as a transgender person? Why are we allowing people to just say, oh, you don't need dysphoria to be trans, when that's not true, because nobody wants to talk about how gender dysphoria actually works. I think I can't help but I'm trying to relate to people who say things like, you don't need dysphoria to be trans. Well, okay, I don't. I think, again, they just have, no understanding of what dysphoria entails, and specifically all of the different effects that it has on a person. It is, I don't want to say it's not hard to have gender dysphoria, but I feel like, oh, damn it. My hair. God damn. Sorry about the distraction. Son of a bitch, what was I just talking about? Gender dysphoria. Well, I'll say on that that I don't think it's just like the people who self-diagnose themselves with other disorders or whatever. It's, and I do believe that these people have some sort of gender issue, but I think they are speaking from someone who is, I'm sorry to say, uneducated in the subject. Yes, I am sorry to have to be the guy that says get educated, nerd, but okay, that made no sense. I am so sorry for that. A little bit of the 90s kid, like late 90s, early 2000s kid kind of came out on me, and I apologize for that. But it's not just about, oh, you need to get educated. If you can say, just without even, if you truly believe that you're trans, why wouldn't you look up the biology and look into the science of being trans? You cannot make fun of science deniers with climate change, who do deserve to be made fun of, for the record, just as much as the people who aren't transmed should be mocked, because that is the only thing that technically proves that there's transgenderism, is the science behind it. But people just think of transmed as, like the worst of Kalvin Garrah. That's another thing, right? I feel like a lot of people, and this is something that I noticed on TikTok. Oh my god, the people on TikTok who are anti-Kalvin Garrah. It is kind of funny. I hate talking about it because the person before, they're an adult. The person I was talking about before is an adult, and they are doing very not adult things. But I think a lot of the people who really hate Kalvin Garrah are, aside from the ones that he's probably talked about, are kids. And, I know that when I was a teenager, I had beliefs when I was 14, and then by the time I was 16, I was, like, 16 or 17, I was just anti-that, so anti-that, that it became a worse, and I'd argue even bigger problem when I was so against it. And then I kind of realized that, wow, that's not making me happy either, so I'm just gonna kind of chill in the middle and have a good day. Have a good fucking day and enjoy my life. But a lot of the people who, I just realized that I should not have done that, because I need to put my eyeshadow on first, even though I don't even really know what eyeshadow I want to put on today! Ha! Sorry about, god damn it. Sorry. But a lot of these people are saying that, oh, I used to stan Kalvin Garrah when I was younger. And I said, well, okay, first, that's your first wrongdoing right there. Standing anybody. I do not get into stan culture. And I do not believe that anybody else should either. Because when I see the anti-Kalvin Garrah people and their ex-stans of his, I can't help but feel like I'm just watching a, not as connected with anything, but they have the same texture and taste of the detransitioners without actually being detransitioners. Because they basically say that, oh, because I was a dick when I was a fan of Kalvin Garrah when I was like fucking 15, and now I know better because I'm 17, which, first of all, get out of here with that shit. I'm sorry to say that. I'm 22. I'm in this weird in-between stage where I'm kind of like, I feel weird making fun of someone who's, 18 or 19, even though I should technically have the right to do that. But nonetheless, I just have a problem with the people misrepresenting Kalvin Garrah by saying, because I was a cunt and I happened to watch Kalvin Garrah, and Kalvin Garrah did not make you go and talk to those people that you end up hurting the feelings of. Kalvin Garrah did not force you to fucking do that, and I know that because I watch Kalvin Garrah, and I've never had the desire to do that again until there was that one person who was literally making fun of people with dysphoria, which I couldn't help but see that and think, how do people, how are you completely against Kalvin Garrah for, making fun of people, but then you allow shit like that to happen. No, that sounds like hypocrisy to me. And I'll definitely say, I was mentioning before, I think that Kalvin Garrah should be 18 plus. Not because of the things I mentioned, but because he has a very mean sense of humor that I think when people are young, granted I had social anxiety, so haha, wasn't going to comment on anything. I think a lot of people when they're younger, they want to, really connect with somebody, and especially when you're transitioning, you're very, very vulnerable, and you want to find someone who, you feel like understands your pain. And I think a lot of, I feel bad because I think a lot of these people, they are definitely trans men, and I have not been with as in dating or anything, but I have been with as a very close friend of a trans male, and holy shit, the things that testosterone does to you when you're taking it as a teenager is very, very unfair. I just personally believe that, granted, you shouldn't judge somebody for what they did in their teen years anyway, but you definitely should not judge a trans guy, unless there was proof that, they were actually, abusive, or if they're, a pedophile, because there is no bouncing back from that. I don't care if you're 14. If you have an interest in someone half your age, that's fucking weird, and you need to see a doctor. But I think that Kalvin Garrah is better for, not necessarily just, adults per se, but people that are more reserved, that aren't going to, harass people. Because I do think that, again, just like the detransitioners, where they say that because I was this way, I have reason to believe that everybody that's a fan of them is this way, which is just not true. And, we were kind of seeing stuff like that with people who were, ex-fans of PewDiePie and all those guys, all that, Hell, I'm convinced that the thing that started Onision's downfall back in the day was when, I believe it was Ready to Glare. She kind of started the downfall when she talked about how poorly he treated her. Because a lot of people, well, it wasn't just what she said, it was Onision's garbage response. And yeah, also, I have been up in arms about this for a very long time, and I would love for, if you have stuck around this long, first of all, thank you, I'm glad that you can somehow stand my voice, and secondly, am I the only one that kind of did legitimately, oh fuck, what's their name? They were god damn it, they go by technically all pronouns, but I think they prefer male and gender non-specific. It was one of the first really big people that, and I totally forgot their name, but everybody knows who I'm talking about, the one with the pink hair that, again, Onision talked about. That person, granted, Onision also kind of stood up for them, but very non-specifically, where it was more of him standing up for his spouse, which if you had actually seen Onision, if you had actually, been an adult, like most of us, and seen the video for the joke that it is, and, apparently your husband was even able to take it better as a joke than whatever. But then for that person, the non-binary person, to support Onision based on that alone. Granted, they were 18, so I imagine that they had no idea who Onision was. But the other part of me says, how do you not know about Onision if you've been on the internet for more than a year? You had to have stumbled upon some video about Onision, I feel. Because, technically, a lot of people first met not met Onision, but know Onision through, Tosh.0 or some shit like that. I think it was Tosh.0, who, they had his videos in a couple of their episodes, I think. But I cannot imagine that you would want to stand up for somebody, without knowing the type of person that they are. The person that I'm talking about, whose name I cannot remember, they come across as the type of person that would like ask someone, who they were voting for before they would like their comment or whatever. Which, I'm not wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. I don't want to be wrong. Uh, that was just lovely. Uh, which lipstick do I do today? Yes, I am also a man that wears lipstick, and I do it because I have to thin out my lips because I have some kind of bigger lips, and that's just how I reshape part of my face as well. Where's my mirror? There it is. And I am not going to talk while I'm putting on my lipstick because then it ends up taking longer. And hang on. Wow, one of those eyebrows is significantly longer than the other. That's great. Okay. I hate this fucking silence. Granted, it also feels like I'm kind of just jangling keys in front of your guys' face, but that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to work as a live streamer, okay? I don't know how a lot of this shit works. Fuck. It doesn't matter. Oh, but that does. That absolutely does. Okay. It's so funny to me how, and I've talked to a friend of mine about it, which, funny enough, the friend that I was talking to, and they understand, I thought that they were going to be the most, as they referred, libtard of, I thought that they were going to be one of those, which is why I didn't talk to them about a lot of stuff. But, find out they're a fan of Kalvin Garrah, and I'm like, okay, cool, and we talked about that and how we think a lot of the people who are against him don't see a lot of his videos, or at least they don't sit through the entire thing. Oh god, I am not in it today. Oh, ass. That is some tits and ass. That is some ass and titties. Brennan. That was the person's name. Brennan. I fucking hate myself. God, I don't know what's... Hang on. I don't know what's more of a tragedy, my lips or how my fucking hair has looked this entire time. And let me be transparent about this and given the subject. It is funny given the subject. Shut up, I'm not transphobic. To be transparent, I feel so weird holding this fucking cup looking like this. I'm gonna be, transparent about this, where, I know that I look like a female, and I've mentioned this a few times on my TikTok, and you don't have to believe me if you don't want to. I have been, hit on by a lot of men who, they see my look, and I don't want to say they think, because technically they know that I'm biologically female, or at least they just assume, because then when I tell them that my name is Dean, well, first, they kind of get hit with the lower pitched voice, which I guess they weren't exactly expecting, and they try to, spin it, and they're like, oh, you just have a deep voice, as I do, and, your name's D, right? And no, it's Dean. And of course, walking across the street, comes the guy that's going to the same goth club that I am, and the guy suddenly is like, there is, and anyone who has been around feminine men and masculine women, they know this face. The guy put on the face not of, oh my god, I just misgendered this person. It was the face of, oh Christ, I just hit on someone with a penis. And that made me feel pretty good. So that's how I tell people that's where my that's kind of where I put all of my eggs in my basket, where I'm just like, you know what, I'm not going to look like a man, but the least that I can do is make myself look like an extremely feminine man, so that when I hit somebody with my my real name, and we're not in a gay bar scene, there is the chance that they will believe that I am just a cisgendered man, because that has happened to me before. And I know it's weird because you're looking at my face and you're just like, this, fucking this. And to that, I only have the response of, I know. I know. And also as, like, guys, dress up and put on a lot more makeup. They put on, they're putting on a lot more makeup within America than they have almost ever. And it's nice because, honestly, makeup is really, really good. Of course, if makeup causes you dysphoria, you ain't gotta wear it. You don't have to push the boundaries there. I wear makeup, and granted, I do wear masculine makeup, and I have studied what, the goth guy look is, enough that I can tell the difference between masculine and feminine makeup. And I would, I hope I would, because that's literally my entire job. So I do wear makeup, which is we're going back to the balancing act thing. And you know what? If Kalvin Garrah ends up ever watching this, first of all, hi, bit of a fan. Please don't, be nice, please be nice. And, if he wants to say that, oh, you're just a girl dressing up, whatever. We can also, honestly, I'm better in DM chat, whatever. And I say that because I've had friends, when I tell them that I'm a fan of Kalvin Garrah, and they'll try to tell me that he would say that I was invalid. I personally don't think so, especially with the recent videos that he's been putting out, where, he says it himself. He says, I know, none of us want to refer to this person by their pronouns because it looks unnatural, but if we don't, people are going to think that we're dicks. And I think he realizes now, unfortunately, I think probably a little bit too late for some people, he realizes that his fans are a little bit mouth frothy, and of course it's nice to, and I get the pains on both sides, where it's nice to have someone who, whose opinion you agree with, and maybe you feel like you're looking around and nobody is, saying what you think is, like, the ultimate truth, which, of course, within the next few years, I could completely disown Kalvin Garrah. I don't fucking know. I don't care. Personally, I don't care. Considering that, we'll always just have to see with stuff like that. Honestly, if Kalvin Garrah called me a girl, honestly, if Kalvin Garrah called me anything, I would not be completely against it, because you know what? I think some of his fans would be able to look past what I do and enjoy my makeup a little bit. I don't know. I don't technically know. But I'm gonna go kind of back to the balancing act, where I wear makeup, but I try to make it look masculine. I do not do the cat eye. Well, you can technically do the cat eye as a male, but you have to be kind of careful with it. I don't do the cat eye. I don't use blush. I personally do not think that blush is all that masculine. I will, what are some of the other things that I do? All of a sudden, I'm realizing now that all this stuff has been kind of planted into my head, so now I don't even know what's natural or not natural. Shit. I do not know what is necessarily masculine or feminine. And I didn't want to mention this because I've kind of already gone over it with the drag king makeup. I think I made a drag king makeup video. Another thing that you can do to make yourself look more masculine, and you also, it depends whether you want it to be subtle or not. How subtle you want it to be, and how much you pass without makeup. Without makeup, I could technically go either way, but I do definitely lean much more towards female, in my humble opinion, which is why I do the full face like this. Everything is a trade-off. I wear lipstick, but I thin my lips out, and honestly, that's the only reason, technically, why I wear lipstick. Otherwise, I wouldn't, but when I don't wear lipstick and I try to thin out my lips because they're a little bit too thick, it doesn't exactly look good. It looks like makeup. It looks like makeup on my lip. It basically just looks like I fucked up my foundation, and I'm not a fan of that. I was talking about something earlier. I don't even care anymore. Well, I know that I was talking about the balancing act thing, but I'm pretty much finished with that now. I was hoping that it would take a little bit longer, but it did not. I'm sorry, I promised Kalvin Garrah chat, and then I'm just doing this, gonna check. I'm pretty sure nobody's viewed. That's exactly right. Thank Jesus. God. I'm also thinking about making a full YouTube video showing all of my screen caps of what this person, the other person, said, so you can see it in the full context too. Not just, oh, I'm gonna prove myself right, but if anybody wants to try to take it in a different context and educate me on it, that'd be great. Again, just like how them and their fans did not necessarily know what I was talking about, I could have been, completely just unaware of what they meant by that, I'll say. Another thing you want to do with masculine makeup is try to do a lot of straight lines. And if you want it to be natural, you can start out with technically unnatural straight lines. And as one of my lovely, lovely Seattles mentioned, and I think I mentioned it in the last video, but I do not care. It was Cattywampus, and along with that was daddy issues, both of, unfortunately, Cattywampus now lives in New York, but, we're waiting on them to get back. But they mentioned how the way that I did my cheekbones specifically, I have a very, very harsh straight line here, which I should kind of go over with these, larger brushes going into the face like that, and then, and then the same around the eye. That's something that you really want to do. And just thinking of the okay. Sorry, had to lose hair. Hang on, gotta figure out what the fuck I'm gonna do next. Because once again, I lost my train of thought. One of these fucking days I'll complete one of my stories without going off on a tangent on something else. But that day is not motherfucking today. It is just not. I guess while we're here, I'll talk about my opinion of the opinion that I do not think a lot of people have, or at least have not mentioned, is that I do believe that you need dysphoria to start out as trans. If you transition, you don't have dysphoria anymore, just congratulations, you've won. Level 100, You're gonna go far, kid, and you just did. If you don't have dysphoria after that, that's, great. Of course, there's gonna be some stuff that's just always gonna be an issue, and it'll be a bigger issue for some people than it is for others. But I believe that we should change the saying from "you need dysphoria to be trans," which, while true, I'll say that back in my day, one of the things that they were very much against was exclusion. And I think pile driving that into people's heads has messed with them. It's this idea where people want to say fuck the rules, but it's also like, the rules are there for a platform. You can have different bases for a house, but if you don't have a base for your house, you're fucked. I don't understand what people don't get about that. You can, have rules that are not difficult to abide by. Case in point, I believe that all you need to be trans is to have dysphoria. Does that mean that having dysphoria makes you trans? No, it does not. Does that mean that, if you don't have dysphoria, you're not trans? Exactly. Granted, I am not going to say that someone necessarily knows what dysphoria is. I would first ask them what they think dysphoria is, and legitimately try to educate them if they don't know that if you get asked about your dysphoria, here are some things that I think you might have. These are some of the ways that I think you experience it. I just had my fucking white makeup with me, and now it's gone. But I need to fucking get off this bed. I hate that I moved everything to the bed. I absolutely despise it. But I'm stuck here until I get my new webcam. Then I'm going to set everything back up, clean some more things out. Still not having my white makeup. Well, you know what? I can always put it on later, except the fact that it's just bugging the shit out of me now. Sorry that I just put my dick in the camera. If it makes you feel any better, my dick is not real. Yeah, okay, I'm just doing whatever at this point. This is why, again, I need a co-host. But, still figuring some of that shit out right now. Just a little bit more and then blend the bitch in. Once again, right behind the candle. God darn it. So yes, hopefully next time I will have a co-host of some kind. I feel bad for springing the idea on my friendly acquaintance, I will call them, because, and granted, they do run a one of those radios where it's like we're all friends type of thing, but gonna get kind of realistic here. I don't really know them, and I think they'd feel the same way, and I am fine with being professional friends at this point. I'm okay with being friends at any point, really. It's just about feeling like I can, I don't want to say trust the person, because I feel like I can trust anybody with certain things. Would I trust them with my life? Probably not, depending upon how that's set up. If it's, will they save me? just saying that I would not trust them having the choice to save either me or somebody else. Because I'm pretty sure that I'm a little bit low on the totem pole when it comes to saving people. So yes, if there is one thing that, I hate how, much like Triggered, the word normalize has been completely ruined by people like the god-awful motherfuckers on Twitter. But I definitely do want there to be a normalized men wearing makeup, and not necessarily in the James Charles way where they just put it on the same way that a woman would. Because there are different ways of putting on makeup that can accentuate your masculinity. Shit. Fuck. God damn it. Yeah, you all can see that now. Y'all can fucking see that now. Oh. I need to do some voice training when I get the chance. Nope. You know what? We are... Okay, this kind of looks like 5 o'clock shadows, so maybe it's not the worst thing that could have happened to me. There's a fucked up joke in there somewhere, but there's too many and I'm not willing to fish one out. Gonna be real honest with you, Chief. Y'all zero motherfuckers ain't worth trying to dig for a fucked up joke. Gonna be real frank with you guys. And here I go doing the forehead thing. So there's a few different ways that guys like to shadow their forehead. Slightly different from mine because I got a bit of a 5 head going on, so have to be a bit careful to not make it look larger, and yet I think I've already just done that, but you know what? Fuck me, am I right? Ha! Ha ha! Here. Sorry, I realized that my failed John F. Kennedy Clone Hive laugh is not entertaining, but you know what? It is all I have right now. I have no experiences right now. I don't know if I'll be able to socialize within the next month unless I keep doing this. Yay! You know, it fucking happens. It fucking happens. Yeah, why not get the butt chin in there? Yeah, that's nice. That's hot. That's hot. My impressions aren't funny, but at least it, is exactly like the rest of my personality. When all else fails, make fun of yourself. That's what my teacher told me when I was, getting bullied. As your teachers always did. Which, I mean, now looking back on it, honestly, I learned a lot from getting bullied. I can deal with people now. Microaggressions. You know what? I got whipped with jump ropes in, the 6th grade. Do I look like I care about microaggressions? No. But yes, if you are either a trans male or, just someone who's trying to come off as masculine, which I'm not going to say that I'm doing it to save my life or anything, but I've definitely been in places where if they didn't believe that I was a man, I could have been in a lot more trouble. So for whatever reason, if you need to be a man, I suggest, personally, if you maybe don't know where to start, look at the more like feminine cisgendered guys, and you can look up trans guys if you want to as well. I just know that, especially, being as as like a straight guy, I feel like I wanted to go more towards just being a cisgendered dude and whatnot. So I played my cards right, and even though I get people, and there are also people who straight up don't believe that I'm a man, and they're right. I'm not technically a man. It depending upon who you ask, I'm either a man or not a man. Well, okay, that works for everything, but doesn't really bother me. It doesn't really bother me. I think as you go through life, one of two things will happen when you, well, okay, technically three. There's also the neutral option, but, neutral's neutral. When you experience something over and over, either painful or not, there are two types of people. People who are, sick of experiencing that and they hate that they experience it and thus, insist that people don't do it, which, it falls under a lot of different categories. I'm not just saying, one good, one bad. There are different ways that people are the people that I'm referring to. And then, as you could probably guess, there is the person who reacts negatively. That was some latex. Reacts negatively, or no. 1 second. Alright, thought I heard my dad. Maybe I didn't. I don't really know. I don't have schizophrenia medication I need to take. Well, of course I'm going to wash his back. Well, I don't know if it would have picked him up anyway. But, you never know. Oop, and a little stray hair. I know that they're baby hairs, and I know it blends it in. I do not like getting hairs in my face. I just don't. I don't like it. It sticks to my makeup. It's gross. And wig hair is also what led to my... Granted, it was like the Party City cheap shit. But nonetheless, got my fucking cornea scratched, and that was not any fun, Okay, this time it's not my fault that I forgot. I thought my dad fucking called me. You know what, I'm gonna watch this video back. So you don't have to. And then I'm gonna make notes so that I can, again have my co-host on here, because I do not like having to talk for all of the time. And I would also love to have one of my drag friends on here. Maybe we can do a thing where we're both chatting and whatnot, and we, we're showing our different makeup looks. And by different makeup looks, I don't mean showing the actual look. I am saying, or just showing pictures of different looks. I am saying too, that we would make it right here. How's this looking? Still streaming, fantastic. Sound still on, fantastic. Oh, I need to do the I am sorry that I made that noise. I am unfortunately going to do that again eventually. And I will apologize again then. I hope you are okay with that. If not, send me an email. I won't read it, but at least I'll get some. And by get some, I mean just getting emails, you know, reminding me to socialize, not, like, not being creepy, okay? I do not suggest drawing on sideburns, drawing on sideburns unless you are a drag king, and it's not that, oh, you can't do that, I just don't suggest it because it looks a little bit goofy when you're not wearing the entire face. So once again, I say this as if he's ever gonna see it. You know, Kalvin Garrah, I'd love to have a chit chat with you, not like a debate or even that, but I don't know, you just seem like a cool guy, and I'd love to hear your opinion on the stuff that I brought up. I don't know. Yeah, unfortunately, the thing that I hate most about this this little neck thing that I'm wearing here is that because it's blocking it, I do not get to do as much neck contour as I normally do, where I basically paint on an Adam's apple. Oh, that didn't sound good. Don't know if you guys heard that crack, but that was not a good crack. I mean, no crack on something like that is really a good crack, but there are less bad cracks. I need to get to Big Lots to get some more eyeliner. Yes, I go to Big Lots to get my eyeliner. What do you fucking know? I'm a cheap bitch. Honestly, Big Lots makeup is not half bad. I got fucking this thing off of, you know, from Big Lots for $5, and it was what, you know, it's what got me into Profusion after, well, okay, I really liked this makeup, and I was afraid that it was just gonna be off the shelves completely, because that's where things that go to Big Lots typically end up. But as it turns out, Profusion is making the rounds because people are a huge fan of them being vegan, cruelty-free, and all that, and also just being a pretty good eyeshadow for the price, especially. The one thing that I will say is that be extremely careful with... Funny enough, it is not the purple ones that I've found I have, or not purple, blue, which is one of the more pigmented colors. Just in the painting world, I definitely know nobody likes blue. Nobody likes blue. Well, okay, they like blue, but they don't like how blue interacts when they're trying to mix colors. But it is not the blue that will stick to your eye. It is the reds and bright pinks. And I know what you are thinking. And no, I did my eyes with NYX today. And I will be currently using I will use the Fire, which occasionally dyes my eye pink. Not normally though. And yeah. But even then, I think because I already used a handy dandy powder on top of my lid, this will not make direct contact. It'll just mix with the other eyeshadow, which technically makes it make contact. I think you guys know what I mean. I'm sorry, I'm not good at explaining myself. Also, hand contouring, well, Okay, this is a bit of a joke of hand contouring, but mostly because I don't have foundation on it. That's probably not a good idea. But hey, it works. It makes my hands feel a lot longer and more, not just masculine, but, more of the vampire long fingers and hands type deal. Another suggestion, if you're doing more masculine makeup, just, take note of things in general that are masculine and feminine. There's nothing wrong with wearing glitter eyeshadow unless, I would not do glitter eyeshadow because I don't think I would pass well enough with everything that I already do. Just when I'm leaning forward like this and I'm looking at my chest, that makes me feel very not okay. And I don't know, part of me just completely wants to end the stream now, but I'm not going to, because if I end it here the way that it is, I'm going to be absolutely disappointed in myself. So I'm just going to ignore what the little box is showing when I lean forward. Or I can just, do one of these, as you do. Yeah, sorry, I'm having to use the mirror, but it's better than nothing. There we go. It's brilliant. For the record, when I sit up, my chest is a lot more flat, but it is currently not. I am currently not standing up, which is why this doesn't look as flat as it normally is. Also, what's going to happen, the corset. If a man wore a corset, no matter how he identifies, you're probably going to, get some people asking you questions. Oh, the thing that I just completely forgot to mention. Or maybe I didn't, and I did, and I'm just repeating myself. I don't care. Fuck me. Is my issue with and why I titled this the way that I did, because there were on that person that I had complaints about, there were people that were saying, oh, I'm a masculine, trans male, or masculine trans male, and they're like, oh, and you're fine, I don't have a problem with you. And it's like, yeah, and I'm a not even trans male, but I consider myself, I call myself a man for simplicity's sake. I identify with male. Speaking of which, I'm going to put my hair down because I hate looking at myself like that, and hopefully my hair can cover up my chest enough. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to brush it, which I don't know how that's going to make me look on camera, but, whatever. But I am a more feminine presenting, at least gender non-conforming individual. Again, personal reasons, I don't like to associate with the LGBTQ community. I'd rather just be considered a straight guy, but we all know that that's just not going to be the case. And I have completely accepted that, and it is my problem to live with. I'm talking to my therapist about it. But I am a fan of Kalvin Garrah, because even though I am a very feminine presenting AFAB, I fucking hate using all these goddamn terms. But here we go. I am technically an AFAB person who identifies as male while not necessarily being trans, because, long story short, since I do not plan on medically transitioning, at least not fully, I do not feel comfortable referring to myself as trans, which is why I will refer to myself as a male, but not a trans man. And that is probably... It's not the most snowflakey thing ever. The most snowflakey thing is male lesbians. I don't care what you were born as. If you're a male lesbian and you don't live in a place that kills people for being gay, you are appropriating an actual struggle that is going on right now, and I have no respect for you. Sorry to be so harsh. but I cannot respect somebody who is using in America, if you are living in America or a first world country where you are not killed for being gay or even jailed for being gay, you're not jailed for being gay, and you dare to call yourself a male lesbian. It is absolutely deplorable. There is no reason, and if anything, it just makes it needlessly complicated. Yes, they existed before Stonewall. Because that was, before Stonewall was the only time when they were needed in America. And I'd argue that, well, first of all, if you're identifying as a male lesbian, unless you are trying to be incognito in an area in the US that is very homophobic, which I would even understand, the only reason why you should be open about being a male lesbian is if you're using like a secret or just any sort of lesbian dating app to express that you will dress up as a male to go incognito. And even then, I don't want to say the TRAP word because people have gone into a lot of trouble, even though I would personally say that it is something that it affects trans people because people who are trans get called that, and I understand that, but traps are not trans people and trans people are not traps. They can be, they can overlap, but much like a Venn diagram, most of it does not. My apologies. So yes. Most, if not all, male lesbians have no reason to exist, and the fact that they are so open about it just shows how little they understand of what they are identifying as. They know so little that they couldn't even, think that it was because there was a time where, believe it or not, people were more homophobic than they are now. Everybody acts like, oh, this is the time where everybody, is awful and the straight white man has never been worse. Like, okay, calm down. Well, first of all, I make the argument that, back in the olden days when, the phobias were all about, it sucked being whoever you were. Yeah, there's cis white men. That doesn't do a goddamn thing for you when, you're getting a tooth extracted without anesthesia, and the person's probably using something that they just used to fix a fucking cart for horses, horse and carriage. Yeah. Nothing saves you there. Though, I get the whole privilege thing. I am not trying to say that, it, sucked just as bad. It did not suck just as bad, but nobody. If you find someone who says that they can live during that time, they either have something really wrong with them, or they have no idea what life was like back then. If we were to bring back our forefathers, they would not first go to, oh no, there's no slavery. They would be, oh wow, there's no shit in the street. Things smell good. It doesn't smell like human fecal matter. That's the thing that would catch them off guard the most. I mean, especially if, they just randomly were brought back, and they just, I guess, materialized in fucking Philadelphia. They would be elated that there was no shit in the streets. Yeah, that was my rant about gender stuff. Nice little seasoning in there with the my hatred for 21st century privileged people who consider themselves male lesbians because of their privilege, and because these are the same people that would say that a white person can't wear dreads because it's appropriating of a culture, which I'm not here for that fucking debate. I have no interest in wearing dreads, and I have no interest in telling people what they can and can't do. on both sides. I come here to explain the rules as I see them, and you can take that or not. That is what my entire channel is about. It's what it's going to be about. And I'm probably going to be divisive. No matter what, you're going to be divisive. There's nothing you can do about that. I have had multiple times where I see people saying, if you like Kalvin Garrah, if you like Blair White, unfriend me. I don't unfriend those people because I can't be fucked. I don't message those people about those things because I just can't be fucked. If you're one of my friends and you're seeing this and you're upset that I'm a fan of Kalvin Garrah and Blair White, which I will say, specifically with Blair White, that I do not agree with everything that she says, I just like the way that she says it. She's one of those type of people for me. Then, you know what? You make the choice. It's not about me liking them, it's about you liking me. And if you think that I'm worth it, then, continue to be friends with me. If you think that I'm not worth it, you ain't gotta be friends. You ain't gotta watch me. And, don't be afraid to leave. Don't be afraid to say, I'm heading out. This conversation is not what I was expecting. And not even in a good way, where I feel like I can argue a point. And that's kind of how I felt with the person on TikTok. Video on that coming